Hey, welcome to today's installment of our best practices and advice and recommendations surrounding funding opportunities. We have a really great topic for you today, and that is best practices surrounding letters of support. This also will cover letters of commitment as well. But we'll get started right away with some practical tips and advice and recommendations. So here we go. So our first one is, remember you're trying to win funding. We strongly encourage that you read through the funder's solicitation and their guidelines. Know the difference between a letter of support and a letter of commitment. Funders have different requirements, different standards. They typically will define and distinguish between the two of them, so be aware of that. Be aware that they may limit on the number that you can attach to your proposal as well. So remember, you're trying to win funding. Read the solicitation. Follow their instructions. Be sure to read through what the agency is looking for in terms of the letters. Some are very specific about what's appropriate to include in a letter of support and who you can get it from. For example, NSF, National Science Foundation, Small Business Innovative Research, they're pretty specific with what they're looking for. They want to see things from advisors, investors, and industry experts in their letters of support, and they limit you to 3. Now, probably by the time you're listening to this, those rules may have changed. So again, we go back to tip number 1. Always be ready to read through that solicitation and make sure you know those what's allowable and not allowable. Address the letter appropriately. Make sure you're using a business format, business letter format. You can find lots of examples of what that looks like online, just Googling business letter format. You definitely do not want to submit an informal letter. And then most importantly, with tip number 4 for us is make sure that letter aligns to the proposal you're submitting. Nothing like submitting a proposal for maybe the next advances in, cancer research, or the next, the next Twitter, or the next Uber, and your letter is talking about after-school programming. So just make sure they're on the same topic. Include the signature of the organization's decision maker. Nothing like getting a letter of support, fantastic letter, and not to have it signed. So we strongly encourage you to make sure that there's an actual signature on that letter of support. It demonstrates that that individual is committing or supporting your endeavors. You really want to have that in place. In the letter, we strongly recommend that somewhere in there you state the relationship history. So maybe it's an advisor, maybe it's a venture cap firm. They need to say, hey, we've known your organization for a while and we really support your efforts. Really need to demonstrate that type of relationship that's in play within your letter. Make sure you're using official letterhead. It's not enough to just have it in a business letter format, get the proper signature, and demonstrate a relationship. Make sure you're using official letterhead. Not your letterhead, but the person who's writing the letter needs to be on their letterhead. And set a deadline. One of the things we tell our clients, when they're collecting letters of support or letters of commitment from people that are going to be participating in the grant at some point down the road, they need to set a deadline probably 10 days in advance of the proposal deadline. Inevitably, you're going to have someone who submits the letter to you days after you request it and give a deadline. Nothing like trying to submit your proposal and not having everybody's letter in hand. So we strongly recommend that you set a deadline. No form letters. It's easy to write the letter for somebody else, but the reviewers are going to be able to tell right away if your letters are all written by the same person. Don't do that. I know it's easy to make it easy for somebody else to do it, but maybe give them some guidance, some talking points as to what you want them to cover. Make sure that, again, give them a deadline. But form letters, those, if they all look the same, reviewers will be able to tell and say, yeah, you really don't have the support that you need for this project. And that's it. Our 9 tips for best practices in collecting letters of support. And feel free to reach out to us anytime. You can find us at evhoward.com. You can Google EV Howard Consulting. You'll find us.